They all talk about if you study hard, you can be a doctor. Go study medicine. Study, study, study. Give up your whole life in school. Then you get to be a doctor. You can't even buy a motherfucking sports car. When you see a man like me at a gas station, I get out of the Lambo. Do you look at me and go, he studied really hard in school? Or do you look at me and think, drug dealer?
From the exact moment you were old enough to sit at a desk and hold a pencil, society has been whispering a very specific, very dangerous promise into your ear. Your parents, your teachers, and the entire media system all told you the exact same story. They told you that if you just sit perfectly still, follow all the rules, get straight A's, and go into massive debt to get a fancy university degree, you will be permanently safe. They promised you a golden ticket to a beautiful, wealthy, stress-free life, so you did exactly what you were told. You studied for thousands of hours. You took on $80,000 of high-interest student loan debt. You walked across a stage, shook hands with a college dean, and got your expensive piece of paper. But then, you woke up the next morning and collided with the brutal, unforgiving reality of the modern global economy. You quickly realized that your expensive degree did not make you rich. It did not make you free. It actually did the exact opposite. It turned you into a highly educated, indentured servant, permanently chained to a corporate cubicle, forced to trade the best years of your human life just to pay back the massive bank loans you took out when you were barely a legal adult. Today on Pratibodh Wisedom, we are going to completely expose the greatest financial illusion of the modern world. We are going to tear down the education trap and show you exactly why the traditional university system is mathematically designed to keep you broke, and exactly what the true 1% do to build wealth instead. Chapter 1. The Hedge Fund with a Library. To understand why you are currently struggling to build wealth despite having a degree, you have to completely change the way you look at the modern university system. When you look at a massive, prestigious college, you probably see a noble place of higher learning. You see beautiful brick buildings, wise professors, and a safe place to expand your mind. But billionaires and massive institutional investors do not look at colleges like that at all. When they look at a modern university, they see a highly aggressive, incredibly profitable real estate hedge fund that just happens to have a library attached to it. The modern university is one of the most brilliant and ruthless business models in the history of capitalism. They sell a product, a degree, that costs them almost nothing to produce, but they charge you tens of thousands of dollars for it. Even worse, they do not offer a single refund, they do not guarantee that the product will actually work, and thanks to modern bankruptcy laws, it is completely illegal for you to ever walk away from the debt you owe them. You are essentially taking out a massive mortgage to buy a house, but instead of getting a physical house that you can live in or sell for a profit, you are getting a piece of paper that only allows you to ask a corporation for permission to work for them. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Safety. Why do millions of incredibly smart young adults voluntarily walk into this massive financial trap every single year? They do it because human beings are biologically wired to crave safety above everything else. And for the last 50 years, society has successfully marketed the college degree as the ultimate safety net. They tell you that without a degree, you will end up homeless, working a terrible minimum wage job and being looked down upon by everyone you know. So teenagers do not go to college because they are highly ambitious and want to build massive empires. They go to college out of pure biological fear. But here is the terrifying truth that nobody wants to tell you. In the modern, highly advanced digital economy, safety is a complete illusion. A piece of paper from a university does not protect you from artificial intelligence completely wiping out your industry. It does not protect you from a massive corporate layoff when the economy crashes. And it certainly does not protect you from the silent, invisible theft of global inflation. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have completely bypassed this system. They know that true safety does not come from a university degree. True safety comes from having highly adaptable, aggressive worldly knowledge. It comes from owning productive assets, understanding how money flows, and possessing rare skills that the market is actually desperate to pay for. Chapter 3. The Factory of the Middle Class. If you look at how traditional schools are actually structured, you will notice something incredibly disturbing. You are told when to sit down. You are told exactly when you are allowed to speak. You are strictly punished if you try to look at someone else's paper to solve a problem. You are trained to memorize completely useless facts, regurgitate them onto a piece of paper, and immediately forget them. This system was not designed to create brilliant, independent, wealthy entrepreneurs. It was designed over 100 years ago during the Industrial Revolution for one specific purpose. It was mathematically designed to create perfectly obedient, highly compliant factory workers and middle managers who are smart enough to push the buttons and do the paperwork, but exactly broke enough to never question the authority of the people actually running the system. When you buy a degree, you are not buying a ticket to the top of the pyramid. You are buying a highly expensive front row ticket to the middle class. And in today's economy, the middle class is the most dangerous, highly taxed, and stressful place a human being can possibly be. Chapter 4. The sunk cost fallacy of your 20s. Let's look at exactly what happens to a normal, hard-working 22-year-old on the exact day after they graduate from college. The celebration completely ends, the graduation gown goes into the closet, and the terrifying reality of the trap finally sets in. This young adult now has a massive, heavy iron ball chained directly to their ankle. It is called high-interest student loan debt. Because of this debt, they are no longer free to take massive risks. They are completely paralyzed. If they want to start a dangerous, exciting new business from scratch, they can't. If they want to travel the world for a year to find their true passion, they can't. If they want to completely change their career path because they hate their major, they absolutely can't. They are forced to accept the very first, completely mediocre corporate job they are offered. They have to take the safe, boring cubicle job because the bank is aggressively demanding their monthly payment. This creates a psychological trap called the sunk cost fallacy. The graduate realizes very quickly that their degree is actually useless in the real world. But because they just spent 4 irreplaceable years of their life and $80,000 to get it, their ego refuses to admit they made a massive mistake. So instead of pivoting and learning new, highly profitable skills, they double down on the lie. They aggressively defend the college system. They tell their younger siblings to go to college. They completely surrender to the system, becoming a permanent, obedient, debt-paying gear in the corporate machine. Chapter 5. The resume versus the skill stack. When you enter the modern economy with nothing but a piece of paper from a university, you are taught to do something incredibly weak and humiliating. You are taught to build a resume. A resume is essentially a polite piece of paper where you beg a massive corporation for permission to eat. You hand them your resume and you cross your fingers, hoping that the corporate overlords will kindly allow you to trade your finite human hours for a tiny sliver of their massive profits. Billionaires, self-made millionaires, and the top 1% of society absolutely do not operate this way. They do not care about your college GPA. They do not care about the expensive name of your university. They do not care what fraternity or sorority you were in. The wealthy only care about one ruthless metric, the skill stack. The modern global market is incredibly brutal and efficient. It only pays for actual undeniable value. If a wealthy business owner has a massive problem that is costing them $1 million a month, they do not want to hire someone with a theoretical degree in business administration. They want to hire a ruthless mercenary who actually knows how to solve the problem. They want someone who understands the deep psychology of digital marketing. They want someone who can write highly persuasive sales copy. They want someone who can build automated software systems that replace 10 human workers. These are high-income skills. And here is the most terrifying part for the university system. You can learn every single one of these elite million-dollar skills on the internet for completely free. Chapter 6. The speed of the modern market. The traditional education system is fundamentally broken because of one undeniable mathematical reality: speed. When a massive university decides to create a new 4-year degree program, it takes them years of boring meetings, academic approvals, and thick textbooks just to build the curriculum. By the time you sit in the classroom as a freshman, the information you are learning is already 5 years out of date. By the time you graduate 4 years later, that information is nearly a decade old. In the modern world, the entire global economy can completely change its direction in a matter of months. We are living in the age of rapid artificial intelligence, massive global supply chain shifts, and digital automation. If you spend 4 years sitting in a slow, comfortable classroom memorizing old textbooks, you are going to be completely slaughtered by the kids who spent those same 4 years actively building businesses, failing, adapting, and aggressively learning how to use the newest AI tools on the internet. The wealthy understand that true education never, ever stops. It is not something that ends when you are 22 years old. It is a violent, aggressive, lifelong pursuit of the newest, most profitable information in the world. Chapter 7. The Entrepreneurial Escape. If you want to completely break free from this highly engineered education trap, you must radically shift your entire identity. You have to stop acting like an obedient employee and start acting like a sovereign business owner. When you act like an employee, you wait for a teacher to hand you an assignment. You wait for a boss to tell you what to do. You wait for a corporation to decide how much money you are allowed to make this year. To escape the trap, you must stop asking for permission. You must look at the massive, chaotic global market and actively search for painful problems. If you see a local business that has a terrible, outdated website and no customers, you do not hand them a resume. You use your high-income skills to build them a beautiful, highly profitable new digital system, and you charge them a massive percentage of the new profits. You become a problem solver, not a paper pusher. You build a brand around your specific knowledge. You create digital products that teach other people the rare skills you have mastered. When you learn how to solve expensive problems, your income is no longer tied to the minimum wage, and it is no longer decided by a corporate human resources department. Your income becomes completely limitless, because the market will always aggressively throw money at the people who know how to fix its deepest pains. Chapter 8. The Self-Education Empire. There is a very famous quote from the legendary business philosopher Jim Rohn that completely destroys the illusion of the modern school system. He said, "Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune." When you look closely at the most successful, financially free people on the planet, you will notice a very specific pattern. They absolutely did not stop learning on the day they graduated. In fact, the day they left the traditional classroom is the exact day their real education actually began. The traditional school system teaches you how to memorize rules, obey your boss, and work for money. Self-education teaches you how to break the rules, become the boss, and force money to ruthlessly work for you. When you decide to educate yourself, you do not have to ask a professor for permission to learn. You do not have to wait for the next semester to start. You simply identify a massive problem in the world, and you aggressively teach yourself the exact skills required to solve it. This is how you build a self-education empire. You stop consuming cheap entertainment, and you start consuming high-level information. You trade your useless college textbooks for the biographies of billionaires, the psychology of human behavior, and the hard mathematics of investing. Chapter 9. The Free University in Your Pocket. If you want to use this strategy today, you have an unfair advantage that no other generation in human history has ever possessed. You have a glowing rectangular device sitting right in your pocket. The broke majority uses this device to scroll through toxic social media, argue with strangers, and destroy their attention span with cheap dopamine. But the wealthy use that exact same device as a free, limitless university. You do not need to take out a massive $80,000 bank loan to learn how the global economy works. You do not need a piece of paper from a dean to learn how to build a digital business. Every single piece of human knowledge, every advanced marketing strategy, and every secret to wealth creation is currently sitting on the internet for completely free. You can spend 3 hours a day watching high-level business documentaries on YouTube. You can listen to the greatest investors in the world break down their strategies on free podcasts. You can read incredible articles written by self-made millionaires. You can literally download the smartest brains in the world directly into your own mind without ever paying a single cent in college tuition. Chapter 10. The Ultimate Modern Business Blueprint. Let me give you a perfect, undeniable, real-world example of how to completely bypass the university system and build wealth from your own bedroom. Imagine a young adult who loves the massive, multi-billion-dollar fashion industry. The old, traditional way to enter this industry is a guaranteed trap. You would go to a highly expensive design school, take out massive student loans, graduate 4 years later, and then beg a massive fashion brand for a highly stressful, underpaid internship just to get your foot in the door. Now let's look at the new, self-educated way. This young adult completely ignores the university. Instead, they use the internet to teach themselves the incredibly lucrative, high-income skill of affiliate marketing. They decide to focus completely on the fashion and style niche. They sit down at their laptop and they build a beautiful, highly targeted Pinterest account, giving it an elegant name like the Chic Wardrobe. They do not spend millions of dollars manufacturing their own clothes. They do not deal with shipping, and they do not deal with customer service. Instead, they partner with massive established global platforms like Myntra, Agio, Flipkart, and Savannah. They curate beautiful outfits, they post high-quality images, and every single time a stranger on the internet clicks on their pin and buys a jacket or a dress, this young adult earns a digital commission. They have successfully built a massive digital storefront. They have zero physical inventory. They have zero shipping costs. And most importantly, they have absolutely zero college debt weighing them down. Chapter 11. The Architecture of True Freedom. This is the exact secret that the traditional education system is terrified you will discover. You can build an absolute empire, generate completely passive income, and reach total financial freedom while the college graduates are still sitting in a classroom arguing about how to format their resumes. When you build a digital asset like a YouTube channel focused on wealth creation, or a highly profitable affiliate marketing page, you are building an invincible machine. This machine works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not ask for sick days. It does not demand a minimum wage. It simply stays awake while you sleep, constantly capturing attention and converting it into cold, hard cash. You are no longer an employee begging for a slice of the pie. You are the architect of your own economy, the final blueprint, waking up to reality. The education trap is the most successful, highly engineered illusion in the modern world. It takes the brightest minds of our generation and mathematically guarantees that they stay exactly broke enough to keep the factories running. But you do not have to play their game. You can step completely outside of the matrix. You can refuse the debt. You can reject the resume. You can take absolute ownership of your own mind, aggressively educate yourself, and build a digital empire that completely changes your family tree forever. The choice is entirely yours. You can buy an expensive piece of paper, or you can buy your freedom. Thank you so much for watching this documentary. If you are truly ready to break out of the matrix, master high-income skills, and build real generational wealth without asking for permission, make sure to hit that subscribe button to join the Pratibodh Wisedom community right now. I will see you in the next one.